Welcome everybody to Breaking the Silence. You have a voice. I am your host, Lady V, and we have a terrific show for you tonight. I can't believe it's the end of the year already. This year went by so super fast. It's like it was January and now we're in December, getting ready to go back into January. And I mean, 2022 just went by, but it's been a great year. I don't know about everybody else, but it's been a real great year for me. I want to introduce the people that's on first, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started with our topic. We want to welcome Dr. Bennett on the show. How you doing today, Mom?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Your hair looks beautiful.
Thank you.
And want to say congratulations on your Hall of Fame. My mom made the Hall of Fame for Wickway High School. Tell us a little bit about that. It was a really great event. I missed it, but I actually don't know if you know, but I was on video, so I was able to see the main important parts. But tell us about it.
Well, it was amazing. I got a phone call one day and someone asked me if I could send in my credentials because they wanted to nominate me for the Wickway Hall of Fame to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And so I sent in my curriculum vitae and everything that they needed. And 3 months later, I received a letter stating that the committee, the association, approved it and I was accepted. And it was just an honorable occasion and an opportunity. The most important thing that I got out of being inducted into the Wickway Hall of Fame is the fact that it will give other children, it will give young people an opportunity to see that all Black people are not in jail or bumming or on drugs and so forth and so on or whatever. And it was just an opportunity. It was 14 of us. And it was an opportunity to just be a witness to other, especially the young people. They had the cheerleaders there, and it was amazing. It was amazing.
Well, I want you to know that I'm super proud of you, and you look absolutely beautiful. That dress was slamming. You look like you were getting ready to be on the Grammys, the Emmys, or some award. I mean, I was so proud just to see. And Dad, he had on was that a smoker's jacket that he had? Oh, he looked
he took my dress color. He took the picture to the shop to find as much of a compliment jacket to it, and he was sharp as all get out. Oh, he was doing his little dance, and
well, you guys were definitely doing it. I'm proud of you. Congratulations again. And we have the beautiful Joy. Joy, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Can't complain.
What's going on new? You ready for the holidays?
Oh my goodness. No, I'm not ready for the holidays, but they're gonna come. So I'm gonna have to get prepared. Right now my brother just bought a new house. So right after this, I'm gonna help him some more. We're painting and everything else so they can be moved in by Christmas. So
okay,
right now.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, congrats to him. Tell him I said congratulations.
Will do.
And we have a couple of guests on our show. So I'm going to start with this young man because I've known him since he was small. Well, not small. He was a teenager, but we had the opportunity to connect years ago, and I tell you, sometimes you really, I'm proud to see what he has become. I always get great reports and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. But I want to welcome. I call him my godson, my nephew. He called me Auntie Yvonne. But I want to welcome Damon on the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for this.
Good. I'm so thankful that you decided to come and join us. I've been trying to get you on the show for a minute. So welcome. And last but not least, now
you have
this young man. I put something out there. Joy has said. I said we need to have some new guys on the show. So I'm a part of this Black podcast, and I put calling all men. And he was one of the ones that kind of answered my request. So I want to thank him for that. I gave him the topic and he said, hey, I'm in. So we want to welcome Will on the show. Tell us a little bit about you, Will.
Thank you for having me on the show. Yes, I'm here. I live here in Houston. I'm a realtor for the past 15 years, helping people change their lives with real estate. And I love having great, interesting conversations. So,
Did you say you're from Houston?
yes, ma'am.
Oh, we need to talk because we're trying to buy a home, and that's where we're from.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Yeah.
It's not by coincidence. Okay.
Connect with me.
Well, welcome to Breaking the Silence. So, when I think it was a song that came out years ago. I'm not sure who sang it, but it was "Age Ain't Nothing But a Number." And who sang that song?
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. And I've seen many. I think years ago, Terry McMillan did Ty Stella Got Her Groove Back. And then what's his name? The old guy. I can't think of him because he's old. He married somebody, I think it was his niece, grandchild, or goddaughter, Morgan Freeman. And what's the other guy? He did the Book of Christ. Y'all help me. Yeah, him. So what is his name?
Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
Mel
Gibson. So and these people have serious age differences in their relationship. Like I think it's 30 years plus. And I've been kind of looking on TikTok and things of that nature where people are like, well, these guys need to be their age and stop getting with these young girls, and these young, they call the old women cougars, and all kinds of things. So I thought that I would do a topic, age ain't nothing but a number, because I don't know. When I look at how young do you go, I have to also look at the fact that, when I was on the dating scene, I had my sons and I couldn't imagine dating somebody that was the age of Richard, Gerard, and Miles. Yeah. So what do y'all think about that? Like, does age really count? Where are we at with that? When you see a 60, 70-year-old with a 20, 30-year-old, is that cool? Come on, somebody.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's cool. Because I feel like you're in two different seasons of life. Mm-hmm. Now, I do understand if a person has a lot of money, they can afford the younger spouse to do a lot more. So, but in regular life, when it's like, okay, he's retired and you still need to go out here and work because bills still have to be paid, but he's sick and you got to go to doctors. I think that's when you'll get a lot more complications in the relationship because you're in two different parts of your life at that point.
Yeah, that's true. It's two different parts of your life. And also, I like this topic because there's a lot of controversy about it. It depends on the maturity also. The maturity, the level of maturity. There's if you are 60 something and you're hooked up with a 30 something and the 60 something is acting like the 30 something, that's no balance. That's out of balance. You have to be able to complement each other because there are some, and you have to remember that females have 7 years on a man. So, women mature a lot faster normally than a man would. But it can work. It depends on the level of maturity. It really does.
So let me hear from the guys. Damon, Would you date somebody that's your mother's age?
Absolutely not. But so I would say that it would definitely, like I said, y'all hit two valid points of just like you talk about how they're two different parts of their lives, and I would say that yeah, it definitely depends on like where you at in your life at that time for either gender, right? Like that 50, 60-year-old, you know what I mean, dating a 30-year-old, like they could literally be on the same path as far as like the family, and 50-year-old, 60-year-old may not have a family yet. They may have always wanted it, but was focused on work and things like that. And the 30-year-old might be in a place where they're ready to do that. But then when you talk the health part, like I can understand that too. Like that dynamic in itself will start to shape, and then it'll start to bring ripples into the relationship anyway. But I honestly, I mean, I would say there is a limit, but I can't say number. I think it really does depend on the dynamic of where those two people are in their lives, and if they come to alignment. I think that is the biggest thing. Our path do we both want things, regardless of what the negative aspects of what come about in our relationship, and if they can come to agreement in that, then I mean, hey. I just wouldn't go that far.
Right.
What do you think, Will?
Well, you guys took all the great answers already, so I'm gonna have to do a little scrambling. Would I date someone my mom's age? I wouldn't rule it out, only because it's how you carry yourself ultimately at the end of the day, and how that person connects with you. Ultimately, you can go into it with a set plan that I want to date so and so. I want to look for this, but that may not be the ultimate goal and ultimate plan for you. It may not be what is for you. I said I wanted this type of woman, and she had to look like this, and she had to do this, and so they roll somebody out that's 20 years older than me, and we connect. Then I can't push that away because I could be pushing away somebody who would be a good fit for me. So I wouldn't rule it out. I think ultimately having conversations, spending time, and if you align, then you can make anything work. I mean, someone your age could not be a fit for you just because of your age.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I look at TikTok, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you have like the mother, the daughter, and then the granddaughter. And honestly, a lot of times the mother is showing out. They say that black don't crack. You got the new age, the 50s is the new age 30, and so forth and so on. And so, I think that is a lot of that factored in, because when you look at your typical woman that's 40 plus, she don't look 40 plus. These young girls, I don't know. they looking kind of rough out there. So, I mean, in all honesty, I see a lot of the younger girls, and no offense, Joy, because you're young, but you do take very good care of yourself, but your peers are not doing it. I see them, they're just not measuring up. So is a lot of that factored in? Because I'm looking at, a lot of these older women, and they look great. Like they don't look like they are aging a little bit. And so and the guys too, the guys are showing out. The guys are they're looking younger in our generation. And I'm not sure if it's water. I'm not sure. I mean, I look at my mom. My mom is almost 80, and she's showing out. So, if she didn't have my dad, I'm thinking, maybe some dude, exactly. I'm thinking some dude in their 50s would try to holler at her. So, is that wrong? Because I think that a lot of it is too, guys are and women, they're looking for someone that they can grow old with, but sometimes people that are our age are too old. They're just old. They're not trying to get with somebody that's that old.
I had before my husband and I bought our first home, we lived in a home with landlord, and we used to talk all the time. The wife and I used to talk all the time. And I asked her one day, I said, I need to ask you a question. I said, what is it like to be married to an older man? She said, well, I'm going to tell you like this. When I was 20 and he was 40, it was good. But now that I'm 40 and he's 60, it ain't so good. And I asked her to explain that. She said, well, in his 60s, he don't keep himself up and so forth and so on. And, you know, all of that has to be taken into consideration too, you know.
And I totally agree. Welcome on the show, Jahan. So, Jahan, would you date somebody that's your dad's age? I can't hear you. Unmute.
No, ma'am.
Why?
No, ma'am.
I mean, you got a lot of older men out there that's still kicking.
My age limit is 37 to 50. That's it. I'm not going no lower. I ain't going no higher.
But the sad thing about it is you do have some guys that are in their 50s and their 60s, and they say they still got it, you know, and they trying to hook up with younger women who are in their 20s. And I mean, so is it the thrill of, and I want to hear from the guys, is it the thrill of just being able to say, because I think both of you are at least in your 30s, is it cool to say that you just got a young girl, you know, you still got it, you know, because I'm seeing some dudes that's in their 60s and their 70s, that's my dad's age, trying to holler at somebody that is my age. And I'm like, what would I do with you?
Damon, I'll let you take that one, man.
Damon? I don't know what Will you want to take right now. He putting you on the spot.
Yeah. So I mean, is it nice to get those compliments, the energy that we would love to get from our own counterparts, or, you know, around our age bracket? Absolutely. Like, it is nice to be able to go somewhere out to a store or something like that, and young girls are looking like, oh my God, you know, they just give you this energy that you like, man, I would, you know, be women my age or women in my bracket. They don't even like do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost, not saying it's taboo, but it's almost to a fault. Like, they look at it as like they're coming off thirsty, or it's a negative, when it's like not just acknowledging the fact that somebody is fairly attractive, and that's okay. But the younger don't really care. They just let you know, like, you know, you're a very attractive male, and it's nice for us to hear that. Now, as far as like, as far as you saying about your dad and him talking to younger women, I mean, again, it's just all about where you at in your life. I mean, this is what would this young girl be? Is she candy and it looks good for me walk down the block, you know what I'm saying, and hold hands and for it to look nice? Like, what do these young women offer that I feel like I get within a bracket, or just through the women that I've come across, right? Like, that's what it would come down to for me, is what is it that she is bringing to the table that I'm like, okay, you know, that's something that I would really look into doing. But again, I didn't always look at it like that. So I've had attracted to the two younger women. So, but yeah, it took me a minute to get to this point. But yeah, that's generally how it's been for me now. Just more of appreciation than anything. But if they bringing some stuff to the table, then I mean, who am I to deny them, or to at least, you know, give a look or give a conversation, just see where they at. And that's for me. Like, that's for me.
Okay. Will?
I can't speak to the ego much. I'm sure ego plays a part in I'm able to pull somebody 15, 20 years younger than me. Guys are physical creatures, so visually, you know, you're looking at something, you think it looks good, and if it's younger, of course, you're going to, you know, play the whole, hey, I remember when I was that age and how things were. I mean, again, it really comes down to the individual. I mean, I think ultimately, if you see something that you like, regardless of their age, if you guys can connect, make the connection. Me personally, I wouldn't want date anyone, I don't know, my grandmother's age. But I would leave it open for someone who was, 15 years older than me. Who knows where that goes, And I think it's the experience that really is the attraction, being that I'm more experienced. It's like, okay, now when I was 25, I didn't know all the things that I know now. And now I can apply those things, in this situation to, take it, not necessarily take advantage, but capitalize on the situation versus when I wasn't able to. So I think that plays a part too.
So
and also,
go ahead, Dr. Bennett.
And also, a lot of things have to be taken into consideration. If a young girl, and I'm sure that ego does have a lot to do with it. A guy, younger guy, does feel good when, a woman comes on to him or whatever. But a lot of things have to be taken into consideration. If a girl is in her 30s and she meets a guy in his late 40s, early 50s, there's some things to consider, especially if she's never had children. She has to know whether or not she wants to have a child with a person at that age, that by the time the child is able to run around and so forth and so on, normally speaking, he's just not, unless he's a sports person. But a lot of men aren't. And that's a factor. So a lot of factors have to be taken into consideration. You just can't go for the excitement part, because a lot of things that look like love is nothing but lust. So you have to take all that into consideration, because it's too late after the fact for a person to complain, well, I never had children, I never had a child, and I want a child. And a lot of things come into play. Then you have to take into consideration the health of the person. If a girl meets a guy and he's in his 50s or so forth and so on, because years ago, prostate cancer was an old man's disease, no more. Now it's, guys in their 30s and 40s. All of that has to be taken into consideration. And the woman has to know whether or not she's able to still want to be intimate and so forth and so on. It's a lot of factors to be taken into consideration. You just can't just up and make a decision just like that. And then a couple of months or so, if it lasts that long down the road, you see red flags.
Well, and that's a good point, because I think that that's one of the things that people don't consider is the aging process. When you go back to what I said, as far as, and most women that, a lot of women in their 50s, they look great. A lot of women in their 70s look great, but and men as well. But the aging process does take place. And then what happens, and I think that that's one of the things that, when I was in the dating field, I considered to be a no-go for me, was because if you're in your 70s and I'm in my 50s, when I get in my 70s, I probably will look like my mom, and then you are going to be in your 90s, and it's probably not going to work out real good. So, is it wrong to consider the appearance, Joy?
Absolutely not.
I don't believe so. When I was in my 20s, somewhat in my early 20s, mid-20s, I used to date men in their 40s. And I soon realized I didn't see a future with these men, because I realized I was getting older and so were they. And that was some of my concerns, that, you look good now, everything's great now, but you tracking up to 50s. And I realized at 50, that's when, the engine needs to, things need to be tuned up. You need your oil change. You got to get stuff done on a regular. I don't know if you're going to end up with ED. I don't know. But that's something I ain't want to sign up.
Well, it's true, Joy.
Yeah.
You might as well say it. And that's the truth.
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't want to sign up for it. I knew I was still young and I still wanted to live life. And I wanted someone who could live life with me and I can enjoy for a long period of time. Not saying that I would never marry a man who could possibly end up there. Yes. But at least we would have had a long span of time, you know, enjoying one another. Before it's just like, oh, 5 years. And now this is what I have to deal with.
So okay, help me out then. It's a difference then because women look at the possibility of the ED situation.
Yes.
But on the flip side, men don't look at that. You know,
they need to.
Women
They need to.
No, because as women get older, they say women get better. But as men get older, they decline. So is it safe to say that women are more marketable as they're older than men are? Damon, you're laughing.
in that area, I would say. But then the stats go like this, and I can only go by, counselees. I will tell you that the average woman between the age of 50 and up is done.
Oh, wow.
They start with the menopause thing and they don't want to be bothered. They shut down. And it comes from a lot of different things. It comes from their teaching. It comes from what they learned years ago. That's just, where that is. But of course, there's an exception to every rule because I'm an exception. I'm an absolute exception at 77. I'm an exception. And I say that to women, and I don't hide it and I don't boast about it, but it's part of my ministry. I tell women that that's part of you that you should never ever shut down. You should always keep that frame of mind because the older, my father used to say it like this: the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. That's what my dad used to say it.
Is it a generational thing? Because most of the women, and I'm just putting it out, that I know that are in their 50s, they say that they're more active, they're more vibrant because they have gone through the pause versus maybe women who are older because of how they were taught. So when you look at women in our generation, they would welcome a younger man for that reason. I can only go with that movie, How Stella Got Her Groove Back. I think she had to be about in her 50s, going with someone that was in her 20s, in their 20s, but she can hang, because your typical younger woman does have all of the issues. They have the
children.
They have the children. They have so is that something that is factored in? What do you guys think?
Somewhat. I mean, being that, most women who are my senior for the most part, 10 to 15 years, they are still active. And they're not showing any signs of slowing down when it comes to activities in the bedroom. I will say that with medicine the way that it is today, some of those concerns that men were having as far as their health is concerned are being addressed. I have a few uncles who are very active still in their later years, and that's with modern medicine. So, and they take care of their bodies as well as far as just being active, working out and things of that nature there. So I see it on both sides. I mean, but it's definitely something to consider as a whole. I mean, no one's pressing pause as far as getting older. Everyone's getting older. So, what this person is going to look like 10 years from now is something to consider when seriously dating somebody.
But I think it's important that people look at that too as a factor. It's according to how you take care of yourself. Self-care has a lot to do with it. If a person is, overeating when they're, at a certain age and they continue that, you're going to have some health issues.
Right.
You're going to have some health issues. If you're not a person to exercise, even if it's just moderate exercise, you're going to have some health issues. You have to take care of yourself.
I think that's younger people as well, because again, I hate to keep saying it, but the people that the 50 plus, they showing out.
Yeah.
When you look at from the stars all the way just to regular people, these people look fantastic, and they take more thought into how they take care of their bodies. When I see a lot of these young girls, and we went somewhere the other day, and I was like, man, from hair care all the way down, they look crazy. And it's like they're only in their 20s, and they look like they're every bit of 30, 40. And I'm like, so is it harder for, and I'm going to ask Damon this, is it hard to find that great looking girl that's your age in this time and day? Will is shaking his head.
Yes.
Damon is frozen, I think.
Go ahead, Will.
I would say yes, because I'm very active. I mean, I play a lot of sports, and I'm very conscious of my appearance.
Is it?
I think he's back.
Hard for us to find someone attractive around my age.
Yeah.
I think it's his audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Go ahead, Will.
So yeah, I would say, man, I have a podcast myself, and I have a lot of interviews, and I love talking with women about this. And that generation, I would say from probably 35 back, not everyone, of course, there's exceptions to every rule, but I hear a lot of, I won't be body shamed, so accept me for what I am. And that is like I have to overcome that a lot, as far as just, interacting with people, having conversations. That is a thing. Like, my beach body is the body I show up with. Like, okay, so you're not going to do anything health wise, and we must accept you for, and that's fine. I get that. But to answer your question, that's why it's hard, because let me go and take care of myself is looked at as that's doing too much. I should be accepted for just the way that I am. And that's why the physical appearance sometimes, man, the 45 and up ladies who are taking care of their bodies, they look so more appealing because they're taking that time, and it really matters to them that, look, I know I'm getting older, but I'm taking care of my body. I may not have the age on the birth certificate, but I got the body when it's mirror. So that's what I've encountered, and that's the conversation that I run into a lot, is accepting my body for the way it is, and if you don't like it, shame on you for not liking a big girl. And it's like, wow.
Damon, you back?
There's something going on with his audio.
Yeah. So while he's fixing that, so Jahan, do we look at the same thing as far as guys is concerned, as far as health wise, or is it different with what women look for?
I feel like we do the same thing, especially if you're trying to go after a man that's older than what you are. And then like my mom used to always tell me, a lot of people look for eye candy. A lot of men, they are looking for eye candy, and if you don't have that appearance or that that health, you're not going to be appealing to them. And so I think I think it goes both ways for us women and for the men.
A Joy?
I think for men, they are a lot more like, oh yeah, they like the, tight bodies and everything else. Women, I mean, that's the reason why you have a large variety of women who go get surgeries and stuff like that. And men, they walk around with their pot bellies, and somebody gonna love them. Someone gonna continue to cook for them, and as long as they doing what they need to do, I think as women we give room for them not being cut. Is that Damon? Everybody try to mute your
The
phone
host
really
is
quick.
muted. Real nice.
Is everybody muted?
Yes.
I think it's Damien's.
Damon, try to mute your phone. Mute your
I don't know if he can hear you.
So Brandy says that acceptance can sometimes be a cop out to working at getting healthy, and that is so true.
Right.
You know, and that's one of the things that I think that is not unfair for people to you know, because we say, well, you know, you should accept me the way I am, but I have to agree with Will. You know, appearance is something. You know, I look at younger men, I look at older men, middle-aged men. You know, you want somebody that's groomed. You want somebody, you don't have to now as they get older, yeah, the body is not going to be like it was when you was in your 20s. But at the same time, should people get with someone because of that? Should that be the main reason? Because are guys getting with younger women because of just that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it's for me, in the conversation I've had with people, it's just a season. It's not something that I'm staying with long. So,
okay.
And it's unfortunate, but yes, the physical attraction, you know, guys go, I mean, people in general, I mean, I don't know anyone. It's like, I just don't want a guy who's ugly. I mean, everybody wants to be attracted to the person that they're with. But for guys, absolutely. I would say yes.
Damon?
All right, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Are guys getting with women? Is it just for the appearance? Is it the appearance only?
I mean, initially, yeah, because we're physical. Like we like what we see first. So initially, yes. But over time, I mean, it eventually does run out at some point. It definitely does at some point. But then, you know, like as Doctor was saying earlier, like at that point it'd be too late, right? Like, you know, a couple of times, you know, we'd be to be a year or 2 years in by then, or we didn't have a child, or, you know, and it's just so many dynamics that happen within a relationship too that changes over time. So initially, absolutely. I mean, us being physically attracted to you plays a huge role initially. We don't understand well, at least not for everybody, but there are most guys that don't understand like that there's more to a person than just the physical aspect of it. And me being guilty of it, I was definitely guilty of that. So I will admit that. But no, like, yeah, that's the first thing initially is, am I attracted to this person or not?
And I think too, you have to know you have to know you.
Yeah.
You have to know yourself.
Yeah.
And regardless, because everybody's different, you have to know and you have to know this from the beginning. You can't wait, you know, because then it's too late. You know I got married very young. My husband and I was 18, he was 20. But there were some specifics. I was 18, but I had a different type of mindset.
Yeah.
There's certain things that I know I would not tolerate. And one of them is a beer belly. Now, if you drink beer, you got to make sure that you don't get the belly, because I can't handle that. But that's me. I don't knock it for anybody else. And my husband is the same way. He's the same way about my structure. So we had that understanding even at a young age.
I want to read something that Derek said. He said, new society has dumbed down the dress code for today's women. So whereas back in the day, the older guys used to look for a younger chick, now they look for women their age. For younger women now, the norm is pajamas and bonnets throughout the day. Whereas older women get up and get dressed fully to start their day. First impressions are everything.
Yeah.
And that is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Absolutely.
And that's something
It's
that
true.
even when I was single, that was something that the guys would always say. They were like, you know, you get up, you comb your hair, you look nice, you know, you smell like the girls go. I mean, I work for Amazon, and I get up still and get dressed like I'm going to the office. Okay. I'm just, is nothing in this world that is that important that's gonna make me go to work with a bonnet, a do-rag, some flip-flops, go to the store. Is nothing in the world that is gonna make me go out looking like that. But when I look at, even just going to like we go out to just out like we be out and now the outfits is who wears their bedroom slippers out.
Yeah.
Like you got on slippers, house shoes.
Have not washed your face.
Shower.
Shower cap.
Have not combed your hair.
Brandy said physical attraction is imperative. I told my hubby, if you let yourself go, I don't know.
Yeah. I concur, Brandy. That's my
Darren
testimony.
said it's also the same for men. Guys are dressed down as well. Nappy hair is common. In my days, combing your hair was first thing you did. You got up. I got dressed, go places now, and people really think we are dressed. And that is so true, because when you look at the guys, okay, y'all help me out. I understand that we have I don't know if is it called the roughneck look, or but you got hair going down here, and if you're gonna have that happy look, something I get, something is. So I'm trying to understand what's going on. Like John. So what's your choices? You sing, what's your choices? What's going on out there?
That ain't me. He got to be clean cut. I'm still into the wave situation. So if a man had waves in his hair and curls, he had me all the way at hello. If he could dress, we good. But the body with the head up and all that
go out the window. So guys, so what do you think about the older guys? Now you talk about these guys that's older, and they. I think, are they just happy that they can still get it? Like, is it more of an ego thing that they can land a younger woman?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, younger women, for sure, they know how to stroke. They stroke an ego in a heartbeat, right? I mean, we're very ego driven. I mean, to a fault, but they definitely, absolutely.
So for men, it's an ego thing. Yeah. It's definitely an ego thing.
Not all, but yes, almost yes.
Will, what do you think?
I would agree. I would agree. It's a conquering thing. I was just the best man in my friend's wedding, and we didn't have a bachelor party. We just kind of all sat around and just talked. And one of the guys who came in kept talking about, man, how's it feel to be with one person for the rest of your life? And that mindset is the mindset that a lot of guys have of the conquering. I'm here to conquer, and it is an ego thing. I would agree 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So for the men, it's the ego thing. So what is it for the women? When you hear cougar, now I'm 5 years older than my husband. I'm not considered a cougar, but I'm gonna be honest. I did not want to date anybody that was older than me. I didn't. I felt like I just felt like guys that are 55 plus are old fogies, so I had to go younger. So for women, is it an ego thing, or what is it for women? Because we can marry a younger guy. I feel
and some of them might feel it's a control thing too. Some of the older men, they like to control the younger women. So some of that could be that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again, Jahan.
Said some of that could be a control thing, because sometimes younger women think with an older man, he gonna control me. So that could be their mindset as well.
Okay.
And I think that with women, it's a lot of validation. If you can
Yeah.
still get the attention of a young man, get a
Mhm.
young man aroused and
That's good stuff.
chase after you. I think that with a lot of women, it's like, oh, I still have it. I can hang with the younger crowd because I can draw those type of men to me. So I think with older women, it's like a validation thing.
But wouldn't that be ego too?
Yeah.
It is.
I was
It
gonna
is.
say, I literally was about to say that.
It is.
Ego.
That sounds
Yes,
like
it
ego
is
is
very
too now.
Half
ego.
and half.
It is,
Yeah.
but
Half
you
and half?
also have to be,
Okay.
but you also have to be,
You know
you
what?
also have
We're
to
gonna
be
take what we can
wise.
get. We're gonna take it we can get.
Right. To take it and run.
Right. It is an ego thing as well, I think, with women, but you also have to be wise because some of the young guys could just be saying that to be saying that, depending
Oh, yeah.
on the young guy, depending on what he is expecting. Because for an older woman, especially if she's established and
Mhm.
she got some money, they say a lot of things. But
Yeah.
as you get older, and this is something for the guys, I have to tell you that my husband is 79 years old, and he is just as sharp at 79 as he was when he was 20.
Mhm.
He takes care of himself. He
So-
don't miss a beat at
So
all.
I
At all.
want
He gets
I
up.
want to go back to something you said, Dr. Bennett. You said men are automatically 7 years
Younger.
younger.
Ladies are about on the mature level, 7
7
years
years older.
older.
Men are 7 years younger.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Because now when you say 7 years, that's a big age difference. Do men? So do they ever catch up?
Well, it depends on, once again, like we all said, it depends on the person.
Mhm.
But as a whole, the average woman is 7 years in the mature area than a man. We mature a lot faster because we are nurturers. We're meant to be that way. God created us to be that way. The Bible says that men are going to work by the sweat of their brow, but women, we're going to have trouble in childbearing. You mature as you bear children, raise children, and so forth and so on. So we've got about 7 years on men, so to speak.
So then when you talk about the age difference, at some point when you see people that get with younger men, and I'll say younger men, are we too serious? Like, and I'm gonna ask the guys this: Are we too serious? Like 7 years now, go with the 7 years with someone your age, and then someone a little older. Are women too serious? Are they too mature?
I mean, I could only speak from my experience. Somewhat. I mean, somewhat, but I mean, it just depends. It just depends on the woman itself. It just depends. Like, I really do think it depends. I mean, there are some women who, yeah, like they're, older, they are a lot more serious than someone that is older. And then we factor in the 7 years, like they be just as like relaxed or chill, funny, goofy, willing to do, it just depends on the person. Like it really depends on the person, because just having two separate people literally around the same age and they were completely different. And I just really think it just depends on who the person is and how they were raised and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. That's true. Because there's a difference between older, and dilapidated. You know what? A woman that is, you're 7 years older than me, and you don't ever want to have fun. You don't know what that is, and then they whip out, well, look, I did that when I was younger. She's not the one. She's just not the one. Because
which is fine, and that's okay, and which is fine, right? And that's why you find a person that is like that, is would align with what it is that you're trying to do, right? And then you have others that are like, hey, like, let's live what you're trying to do. What we doing today? Let's do it. What we going? But so it just depends. It really do depend.
You have to find the fit. You have to find your fit.
I think
the
balance
reason
is
I ask
important.
that is because when you're with someone that when I was younger, the guys used to always say, women are so serious. We and it is because when we become moms, we kick into mother mode, and responsibility, but we forget how to have fun.
Yes.
You know, we forget how to laugh, and everything becomes very programmed, you know. So it kind of throws the guys off, because and I think it was Bishop Jakes that said that, you have the girls, they, by the time they are of 15, they already know how to get a job and work the job and build a house and everything. And the boys, they're still playing with their trucks and their cars and video games. But the problem is, by the time they get with someone that is even their age, if that is a true point, then sometimes I think that, and I speak for myself, I think that, you know, when I was younger, maybe I was too mature. I once I became a mom, I lost my youthfulness, you know. I lost the ability to be able to have fun. Everything was, you got a program, you got to do this and you got to do that. And I think that sometimes as women, we're guilty of that. And maybe that's why, is that why guys tend to look at the younger, because like Damon said, you know, you're going to get that compliment. We forget how to compliment. We forget how to play. You know, we become so super serious. We forget, you know, that we got to stroke that ego, that we still got to be cute. We still got to be, you know, now we do walk around with our bonnets on and, you know,
Not the
But then I mean that just depends on your partner, right? That's where conversation comes into play. That's where communication comes into play, right? So that's why it's pivotal for you, you know, for you and your partner to have those hard conversations of, hey, like, you aren't meeting my needs right now, and da 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 da, and vice versa. That's why it's important to have the maturity within your partner too, right? To have that mature conversation of, hey, my needs aren't being met right now, da 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 da. What can we do to fix that? So that depends on the partner too, right? Like, it depends on the person that you with. Because if they're, you know, males, again, us, you know, you guys being 7 years older, it's a male still haven't even mature enough to say, let's have this conversation. Da, 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 instead of being like, okay, well, the younger women gonna stroke my ego because you're not doing it, but yet you're not having the conversation either, right? So you have that conversation with your partner. That's what y'all are there for. So then that plays a factor. So it's so many, it's just the maturity is a big thing. It really is. Even in a relationship, it really plays a big part. And you having to put your big boy pants on and big girl pants on and just having those conversations. And usually a lot of those times that those things happen is because people haven't had some conversations. They either don't do it for not hurting the other person's feelings, or they or avoid it altogether and say, well, I'm gonna just go back to what I'm used to doing, which was avoidance, and then go and find it somewhere else, right? And still end up being unhappy. So I mean, but I can go on and on about that stuff.
I don't know if the woman is too mature rather than she is more settled in her identity and unable to accept new. And then Derek said, any younger guy has to realize that a woman is going to raise her children first. If he can help with that, he will get the woman he wants. If not, he will end up thinking she is not there for him because she will be more serious about her children. When you get a woman with no children, it's on, anything goes. And you know, that is true. That is absolutely true. But I want to, since we're talking about children, so how does that work? Because when you I want to ask two questions. So when you get with someone that is younger, and you already have, like, our children are grown, my children are grown, so I couldn't even imagine getting with someone, and that was my non-negotiable. I did not want somebody who had small children. You know, I was like, I raised my kids. I don't, and that's it. You know, I'm not having any babies. I don't want to raise your babies. I don't want to raise your teenagers. I don't want to be bothered with your kids. You know, other than to say, hey, how you doing, and that's it. Just to get with somebody because they're young and they look good, but they got small children. I couldn't figure that out. So what do you do with the children? Because if you get with someone, if an older person gets with someone that's younger, what do you do with that person if you're the same age as their children?
Well, it's like we said before, those are the things that you have to take into consideration. You have to take it into consideration.
Okay. Rayfield said, not all men fall under this 7-year deficit. I have experienced the younger and the older and handle the relationship. You have to you have to be flexible and know how to and understanding. It can always work if you put time in and trying to have a large portion of understanding. And that is true. That is true.
True. There's always an exception to every rule.
So would you with that being said, Jahan, because you have your child is grown, would you get with someone who has smaller children?
Well, my child is 14, and I go back and forth about that, especially when I'm in the dating world, as we call it. Do I want to start over? Do I want to be with somebody who has a teenage kid like me? You know, I go back and forth because, like Dr. said, you got to keep all that in consideration. And me dating a younger person, they might not have kids and they want kids. And it's like, I don't know if I want to do that, you know. And then it can go both ways as far as the older men. Some older men don't have kids. And they, you know, it's like, oh, well, I didn't have kids because I was waiting on the perfect woman, and, you know, in so many words. And so now I think I found you. So now I might want kids. So it could go for younger and older. But for me, I don't think I would be wanting to be with somebody younger, especially if they don't have kids already.
So what do you think about the older guys who go out there and they get the younger girl pregnant and they mama shaking her head because now I think that's what I struggled with. I struggled with guys that were in their 50s and their 60s and they say, you know, they had an oopsie. That's a big oopsie.
But I don't fault the older guy. It's the woman. She needs to think about this before she lets that go, because she's the one that's going to be in trouble. To tell you the truth, she's going to be the one, because if he's much older, it's not but so much he's going to do. So it's up to that woman, you know. And a lot of younger women do it, calling themselves, because they're unlearned, you know, they lack knowledge, they lack understanding, they lack wisdom, to trap a man. Wrong.
Stability. The number one word, stability.
Very, very wrong.
Okay. Well, it is 7:02. Let's get some final words. Joy.
Final words. I would say that if you decide first, find out who these people are that you want to date, whether they're the same age as you, whether they're 10, 15 years older than you. You need to really find out their core values, because that's what you're going to have to really build a relationship upon. If you guys don't believe in the same things, if you have two totally views on life and two totally different ideas of where you want your destination, if your future to go, just don't do it at all. Just don't get together. But I don't care if they were born on your birthday the same year. Don't do it. Be sure to get the fundamentals together and understand that y'all both are going to the same place.
Okay. Jahan?
For me, I would say communication. You gotta have that communication. You gotta have that, you know, my deal breaker, and this is, you know, what I want. And if you do go down that road of dating somebody younger, be careful. And again, have that conversation.
Damon?
No, I would just say just be conscious of where you at in your life. And I think the most important thing is you first. Like, you know, analyze yourself, where you at, what you're looking for, and then be ready to put that on the table and see if that matches up with the person that you're looking into. And that's all I could really say. I mean, it's just make sure you know where you at first, so that way, you know, if it all can fall in the line with the person that you're trying to be with or want to be with.
Okay. Will?
Wow, all great points. Just to kind of piggyback on it, I think what I try to push is being being vulnerable in your truth, being honest with yourself. A lot of times, especially guys, we struggle with vulnerability, and if we're vulnerable and honest, if you can't tell yourself the truth, you're gonna lie to the world. So tell yourself the truth and be honest with yourself on what you really want, and the rest is easy.
That's good.
That was good.
I'm gonna say
You can use that later.
I'm gonna say a little bit. I'm gonna say the. Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. Final word.
Okay, I would say first impressions are very important, and first impressions are sometimes lasting impressions, but you can't stop there. You gotta go. You gotta keep on going so you can find out if this is your fit. Because if it's not your fit now, it won't fit later.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna say be true to your own self. You know, don't get with someone because it's an eye candy, you know, because age is a factor. You know, what looks good today may not look good 20 years from now, and you have to be true to your own self. So, you know, don't get caught up in the whole eye candy thing, because you may be making a mistake years down the line. But we do have to go. This was a great show. I want to welcome all of our viewers and thank all of the comments that came across. You have been watching BTS Keeping It 100. Well, I believe that this is going to be our last official show for the year. I am going to have a special holiday show, and then you won't see us anymore until the beginning of the year. But I want to thank everybody for all of their support. We have some awesome supporters. We really do. Some awesome followers. We have people that come on every single week, and I just want to say thank you, because you have made this show such a success. And I just want to give shout outs to you. We are going to come back strong in 2023. We got some real hot topics, so get ready, because we're going to be on fire in 2023. Definitely make sure that you check out Joy's podcast. It's called Real Talk, her and Reverend Jay. You have Dr. Bennett, who has Get Help every first Saturday. Every second Saturday now. It's every second Saturday. We do post it on Facebook. And then Will, can you tell us what your podcast name is?
It's called Real Talk.
Real Talk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Damon, do you have your podcast?
No.
Okay. That's all right. Damon does a lot of things in the sports arena, so you know y'all will see him. Definitely see him on the show again. And Will, I thank you guys for joining us today. But we do have to go. You have been watching BTS Keeping It 100. I am your host, Lady V. And until we meet again, always remember that you have a voice. Bye, everybody.
Bye.